So, let's start off by introducing yourself.
Hello, I'm Chapman, and that's my film, I guess. It was a final project at University of Salford for TV and radio, or BATA, as it's known. So,
yeah, so kind of how did the idea come about? If it was your last film, was there kind of any constraints in the sense of how long it had to be, what the concept?
We got told 8 to 10 minutes. And it's 8:36, so we didn't get any constraints as such, other than you had to tell if it was a drama or documentary.
Okay.
I went for drama, obviously, and was stuck for an idea for quite a while. I did a couple of very small ideas, but I thought I wanted something that would grab attention towards the beginning, and so I thought the only thing I could think of was a girl running through the forest. Why would a girl be running through the forest? And it just built from there, really. That was the only bit of the idea, and it kind of, I think I wrote it on my wall in post-it notes about 6 times, and then scripted it about another 4. So it was, you could say well thought out, but it was more kind of, that won't work, I'll change it to this. No, that won't work either. I'll change it to that. I don't have the budget for this, so I'll move it to over here. And that's kind of how it came about.
So it was kind of, say, creative chaos that evolved in itself?
Yeah, you could say that, yeah. It took a couple of months to kind of write it.
Well, regarding that, I mean, it kind of, it explains itself to an extent, but then there's quite a bit of theory in there which is kind of why she could be, say, seeing these people, etc.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I get, she's talking to someone who's not there, he's in her head, and it's happened quite a lot, hence all these the broken pots in the bin. Can you kind of say, elaborate on this point, kind of say the reason?
That's basically what I was trying to go for. I have actually heard of a couple that I know had an argument over the film, because one of them said it didn't make sense, the other one said it did. My idea was that it's all in her head, and that's why the final shot of as it's pulling away from her is that she's looking haggard. She's in a white room. She doesn't look that healthy, and it is just all kind of head play. And that's why there's all the broken cups in the bin. Yeah, was why there was. I think I bought 6 of them from Wilkinson's, and those mugs, those cheap mugs. If anyone wants mugs that don't break, buy the cheap mugs from Wilkinson's. They do not break, no matter how high you drop them from on a solid wooden floor. They just bounce. Well, I've got about 6, 7 takes of cups just going bounce, 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 and then back to going. And that's why there isn't a shot of it breaking, because the only one that it broke is, I think, the handle bounced off and a little bit of chip just rolled across the floor. So eventually we just took it out. I think I broke it in my kitchen eventually on a tiled floor instead, and just threw it as hard as I could and just recorded the sound and dubbed it instead. I was like, I can't get around this otherwise. I thought, they're 80p mugs, they'll just smash. No, I should have bought fine china. Wasn't kind of my problem.
Well, with that in mind, kind of say, can you talk about, say, the budget itself, the crew that you had? Again, is it all kind of university people? Did you get people outside?
The budget I put towards £100 to it out of my money. I think 60 went on food, 30 went on petrol, and I think 10 went on costume for Catherine running through the woods, all from Primark in the sale. Epic buy. The cast was, I tried to do as much as possible because I thought it's my final project. I want something that I entirely own and can go, I did this, and this. Yeah. Rather than, I directed it, but someone else wrote it, someone else cameraed it, someone else edited it, someone else sound directed it. Because I thought I'll do as much as possible. I might as well. So I had a friend who's actually half deaf doing sound recording. I did camera and direction, and then editing and sound editing as well, and grading. And then the actors, the 2 people in the kitchen, Jackie, who's the older woman, I knew from a previous project that I did. I did a scene from a film called The Woodsman, Kevin, I can't remember his last name. Baker. Did a scene with her in that, and I asked her if she would be in this because I thought she was really good. I got on with her really well. And the guy, Michael, was, I knew him because my friend had filmed in my kitchen with him for a different project, and I got on with him, and I thought I'll get in touch with him because the actor who I had dropped out, not dropped out, just didn't get in touch. within 4 or 5 days of the shoot, and I was like, I can't afford to turn up and him not. So I got in touch with Michael and said, are you busy on Saturday? And then Catherine I found through Staten auditioned her and one other girl, and the only reason, they were both really good, the only reason I went for the Catherine was the main thing was that I thought she looked more believable to be Jackie in 30 years' time than the other girl I had who was blonde, and I thought it's not going to match.
Yeah.
Whereas she's brunette and Jackie's kind of brunette to ginger, and it worked in that sense. And a couple of people have said it kind of works like this. They could possibly get away with her being in 30 years' time. I don't know what the age gap is, I didn't ask. But that was, and it kind of worked a lot better. I didn't want to go for students because I've heard of a lot of problems with people who've had students and either not turned up or dropped out the last day and things like that. But she was actually a student at Salford, and she was really good.
That's good.
And it all worked out quite well.
Fantastic. Well, regarding, the roles, the fact that you were the writer, director, producer, did you find any problems with that in the sense of when it came on set and you were the director and the producer? Were there any kind of points where it was like, I can't do that because I need to focus on the directing? I don't know, other than the stress of it all, of trying to juggle that, and I think I shot and edited like 4 other people's as well. So it was that kind of, that's why I shot mine really early. I shot it in February this year, and I think the due date was like June. So I wanted to get it out of the way really, really quickly so that I could have time to shoot other people's and edit other people's as well. But on set, because there was only like 4 of us each day, there was myself and Charlie, the sound recordist, and then either Catherine on the day when we were in the forest or Jackie and Michael on the day when we were in the kitchen. Yeah. And then for each of the days I also asked a friend if they'd be assistant producer, just to kind of take care of the folder with the health and safety and the log sheet. So if was that good, was that bad? Because I didn't want to be running from the camera to that and then back again, because I've done it before, it just wastes time. Yeah. But I'll ask a friend, can someone do this? And luckily someone was free both days, different people to kind of just note stuff down. And so I did as much as possible for them beforehand and handed them a big lever arch folder and just went, this is yours for today. Keep hold of that and just log stuff down and I'll tell you what to do, it'll be great. And it did work quite well. We shot, I think, the forest in 4 hours or so, and then the bit in the kitchen did take all day, which is, the light does change in it a little bit, but I tried to combat that a little bit with covering everything like possible. Well, regarding the shots, what I noticed in the kitchen, everything's quite close up. Yeah. Was that a purpose thing, or was it kind of limitations to say the equipment you had?
It was kind of purposeful, just to get the shallow depth of field on people. I think because I shot it with a 600D and only had the 18-135 kit lens, and it's actually not a bad lens for a kit, Canon lens anyway. I think their headshots were shot at either 85 or 135 mm, so it was quite shallow in, and it was, I mean, there's bits in the forest, any movement parts in the forest are shot with a 5D too, because I asked a friend who had a fig rig, and I asked him, can I borrow your fig rig just to do some movement shots, and he said, well, I'll come and do it for you instead. So he was another student, he had a 5D too, and he did the movement parts. So like the bit where it's over her shoulder, I'm running behind them with a big reflective board, trying to keep pace like this, trying to bounce light onto the back of her hair, which is why it's quite golden. And yeah, I mean, that was why in the kitchen it's only shot with all one lens, and it's all shot with a polarizer filter. That brings out all the golden colours in the forest and cuts down on the reflection in the kitchen window, which kind of helped a lot, because when I did a rough edit of it, I showed it to the people who helped make it and were in it, and some family and some couple of people on the BBC, just to kind of see what they thought. A couple of them said, oh, I really like the grade you've done in it. I was like, that's just out of the camera. That's literally just a polarizer filter tilted to the right angle and gone, oh, that's really nice. It looks awesome, even though it was shot in kind of February time.
Nice. That's really cool. Yeah. Well, are there any questions for Chris?
It's quite a scant storyline, so what did you tell your actors to give them motivation to actually kind of, because they're quite good performances and quite kind of intense, but what did you tell them?
Yeah, I think, well, Michael had 2 days to look at the script, so he didn't have too long. With Jackie, I just kind of said to her, it's all in your head. I explained the story to her, and she kind of said, that's all right, I'll take it on my own. And I trusted her to get on with it, and she did a great job on the day. And that was why I asked her to do it again from the Woodsman thing that I'd done, was that she did a really good job, and I thought there's no reason why not to use her again. and that was why I wrote in an older part, because I wanted something where I could use the actors I'd used before that were good. So I didn't want to get to my final project, go, oh, you know what, I'll use different actors, and then it got terrible. So that's why I wrote it around older people, because I thought I know some older actors that do a really good job. And I didn't tell her too much, I just kind of told the story, explained it all to her, said where it was coming from, and she did a great job, and so did Michael as well, even though he only had a couple of days, which is why we shot all of Jackie's dialogue first, and then after we had lunch, we turned around and did all of Michael's to give him time, because while she was doing the lines, he was looking at the script kind of going, right, I know this bit now, and shot his afterwards, but it worked very well edit-wise. I've got to answer the question.
Anyone else? No? Okay. Well, Chris, it was great to see you.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for
pleasure speaking to you.
Yeah.